hello, and welcome back to The Motivating Force. Joining me, as always, we have host Sway, an aspiring Marine Corps officer who's finishing up ROTC and his bachelor's degree in the criminal justice field, and myself, Justin, a motivational leader who's always more than excited to share all of our wonderful ideas and topics with you guys. On this beautiful Monday morning, we're going to be talking about falling victim to the comfort zone. This is going to be a little more on the personal side, what I've been going through lately. And,
hey man, speak your truth, brother.
We're going to do it today. And some research behind it here that actually go into the 3 psychological states of being when it comes to stress. And I found some really interesting tips and pointers in there, things that I didn't even know about before. So I'm really excited to share that with you guys today.
Well, first off, I like the fact that you are speaking from your perspective, because then it gives a lot of ground concrete evidence that other people can trust that it's actually working or that they might be feeling it as well.
Yeah, going off of personal experience is really the best way to do it. And with a baby on the way here, doing one more month,
yeah,
I'm definitely getting all kinds of mixed emotions and going through all kinds of things that I'm sure plenty of people can relate to. So I'm more than happy to share that with everybody. And to start this off, the comfort zone is defined as a place or situation where one feels safe or at ease and without stress.
So is this a hypothetical place that it can be anywhere, wherever you're at ease, or your home or your room?
Well, that's why it's saying place or situation.
Okay.
So it's anything that makes you feel safe, you're at ease, you're without stress, when you're in that state of
you're
being.
calm.
Yeah, when you're calm.
Yeah.
That's your comfort zone.
Got it.
So, Josue, I'm going to say something you're very familiar with. It's Newton's law. An object of motion stays in motion, while an object of rest stays at rest. And I know we mention this all the time.
A lot.
And what better time to mention it than with the comfort zone?
Yeah.
When we hit our comfort zone for too long, we can get sucked into its grasp. And before we know it, days, weeks, even months can go by. And there's going to be little to no progression in our journey through this life other than the fact that we're getting older. And we'll be okay with staying there as long as we don't realize anything because we feel safe. We're at ease. We're without stress. Why would you want to change that?
Yeah, why do you want to put it at risk? You might think, if you're comfortable, if everything seems to be good right now, why would you want to try to put that on the line to chase something bigger?
Yeah, and I know people always scream it into you about, get out of your comfort zone and go do new things and try new things. And there's some truth to that, but that's not the whole picture.
Yeah.
The whole idea isn't to go out and do new things. It's really to push yourself to an extent.
Yeah.
Just make sure you keep moving. In my personal experience, it's always taken a wake-up call for me to realize that I've been in my comfort zone for too long.
Yeah.
Because there is definitely place for your comfort zone. There is time to go back to it, rest, recover, recuperate, all those things. Obviously, you don't want to be going all the time. You don't want to burn yourself out. But when you're there, you need to realize when it's time to come back out.
Well, yeah, because when you're sitting there too long and you're in this good headspace, there are little things that can pile on, the little stresses can outweigh the good at times. And a lot of it is due to having to accept it within yourself that maybe you are just sitting still too long. So acceptance plays a big role in this, I believe.
Yeah, and I think that's why for me it takes that moment of realization and then just being able to, take that opportunity to, okay, well, now we need to make a change before this goes on for longer. So the easiest example I use is when I step on the scale. I don't really care what the scale says too much as long as I know, because I know it's all about what you're eating, your activity level, the things you're doing, and you should have some fluctuation. It's normal. It's healthy for you to go up and down a little bit here and there.
But what bothers you is when it cracks when you step on it?
Yeah. When the scale there's no more numbers, it just says bruh. Yeah, there's a problem there. Yeah. But no, really though, and I know that's something a lot of people can relate to, because I kind of monitor my weight once a week. I just weigh myself just to see where everything's at, see if I'm missing something. And I get to that point where I am missing something.
Yeah.
And then I realize it when I'm like, oh, okay, that's a little
Yeah.
up there, right?
Yeah, it's like a golf at that point. When you're seeing all the numbers get bigger and bigger, you're doing something bad.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to have those big numbers like that.
Yeah. High scores are
Looked down
not
upon.
good.
Yeah, they're frowned upon.
Yeah. So, I'm used to watching the numbers slowly trickle up, slowly trickle down, and then eventually it's just up, 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 up. And it's like, okay, there's definitely something wrong here. And then I look back and it's always tied to me just being in my comfort zone. And right now, I have a pretty good excuse, man. I have a wife who's 8 months pregnant.
Yeah.
If she wants ice cream in the middle of the night and I have to go get it, why am I not going to get ice cream for me? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's also a bigger check that you're going to have to pay. There's one thing.
Okay, but look, man.
If you're already spending the effort to go, might as well get two.
Yeah, you're going out of your way. It's not like one night you're like, oh, let's go get Dairy Queen, something like that. It's like, hey, I want ice cream. You look down at the time and it's like, where am I even going to get ice cream?
Yeah.
You got to figure that out. You got to get up and you got to go get it. And you were already asleep. Yeah, your boy's going to get some rocky road. You know what I mean? Come on, hear me out. Some of that stuff ties into it, but that's just all excuses, man. But the reality of it is, the pants start fitting a little tighter. Bending down gets to be a little more calculated and thoughtful. And then, boom, you look at the scale and you're like, oh, yeah, okay, that makes sense. I see what's going on here. Being the guy that I am, being here for you guys, being all motivational and whatnot, I'm like, you know what? Let's hit it. Let's just go major detox time, right? Let's cut out all the carbs completely. Let's get back on carnivore diet. As you guys know, I'm a big advocate for the carnivore diet. Hell, at the same time, let's cut out caffeine completely, right? Because let's face it, we all consume too much caffeine. And I just wanted to do everything I could to regain my energy and be in the position that I personally want to be in for myself, for my family, and for you guys. It's what I want to do. And then I started thinking about it. I have been on carnivore this last week. What I've called carnivore plus desserts. Because we have so many desserts in the house that have to get eaten up. I was like, I can't let you eat all this on your own. But it's been going great. The carbs are more than cut in half, which is honestly probably a good point for a lot of people to be at.
Yeah.
But then I started thinking about it and I was like, how reliable is this going to be? Am I going to actually make it through this without making myself miserable? And I'm sure it'd make great content for you guys, for me to show you guys the cold turkey ways of quitting all these things that are bad in your life. And so y'all can laugh at me and watch me struggle through that. But at the end of the day, it's a lot more stress that I'm adding to try to fully eliminate all these things in my life all at once.
Yeah. And then on top of trying to add the having to record everything and document everything when you're expecting a child.
There's that added stress too.
Yeah.
There's a lot more stress being added on than just the typical, okay, well, I'm going to cut back on carbs and, we'll take the bedtime coffee away, which would be a lot more reasonable. It would make sense for a lot more people. But I know there's other people out there like me who are like, oh, okay, you hit that realization moment in your comfort zone and you just kind of want to go off the deep end.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's like if I'm not making that radical change, I don't notice the difference.
Yeah, it's really like go big or go home.
Because I've got myself in that mindset where I try not to notice the difference in that gray zone. Whether it's going good or it's going bad, it's like, okay, well, these are the waves of life. This is what happens. Some months are going to be really productive. Some months aren't. And that's just the way it's going to go. And everything's okay with that. So when I personally make those decisions to change those things, I want to see that tidal wave, and that's not the best way to do things.
But that's understandable because I'm sure a lot of people think the same way. If they're going to make a change, if they're going to take a step out of their comfort zone, take a leap of faith, some might say, they're going to want to see a return. Like the stock market, you're going to put some money in, you want to see it double, triple. You want to see it like explode. But you have to be realistic about something.
For some people that get lucky and they do hit those, the doubling their money, the tripling their money and things like that, and it's so far and few between, and you're like, yeah, I'll be the next one to do that. But realistically, though, what are you going to go through to make that happen? And especially when you're trying to create these tidal waves in your life to make these bigger changes. Be realistic with yourself. I know we've talked about it on many different occasions and different forms and whatnot. And, well, this is just another way.
Yeah. Because a lot of it, too, is based on, like, how willing are you, like, wanting to do that? Because I can tell from you, it's like, okay, I need to make a change, but it's not like out of 10, it's not like a 10. You're probably at like a 6 or 7. So there is a change that you're realizing you have to make, and you're like, okay, I need to go through the motions for it. But if it's like a 10, then it's understandable to expect the bigger changes because you're willing to put more effort into it.
Like originally, when I first started and found out about carnivore and whatnot, I mean, I was like 40 pounds overweight.
Yeah. So it was a 10.
So it was a 10. The necessity was there. And I did, I did carnivore for a month straight, strict right off the bat. There was no coffee, no tea, no anything. It was just water and animal products. And, it went great. I loved it. Of course, the first 2 weeks suck, as any type of detox does. Mm-hmm. But you get to that point where you're like, okay, this is great. And I remember that. So every single time that I want to make those little changes, it's like, but remember how great it was when you were there? So what can I do to get there again?
Well, that's the thing. It's also you were in that comfort zone after seeing the results. That's where like the scales can turn drastically the other direction. Just because you're getting out of your comfort zone at first, you're working like super hard to get all these results. And then once you see them, you're like, okay, I'm good now. And then you get back into that comfort zone. But there's like limits. You can either go too far at times and then just kind of quit and not want to do it ever again. Or you go a little bit out, you see the result, you come back, and then that's it.
That's it. Yeah. In psychology, they actually talk about those different boundaries. And they have the 3 states of stress level, right? So you have your comfort zone, you have the optimal performance zone, and you have the danger zone.
Danger zone.
Which is, yeah, exactly what we're talking about. So, and I think a quote from Yerkes sums up the optimal performance zone the best. He says, anxiety improves performance until a certain optimum level of arousal has been reached. Beyond that point, performance deteriorates as high levels of anxiety are attained. As you can see, there's this whole balancing act you have to play with that. And when you're trying to make these bigger changes, you need to realize that it's better to be in your optimal performance zone than it is to try to jump off the deep end and go into that danger zone.
Yeah, because if you put too much stuff on your plate, like it's going to be tough to hold it up. But if you're going in, well, first you have to make that plan of attack. You're planning everything out. You're setting what you're going to do in order to attain these results that you're expecting to get out of your comfort zone. And then if you don't do that, it's very easy to just keep piling stuff on. And then sooner or later, you're going to hit that boundary that I was talking about before, where you kind of just quit. You don't want anything to do with it because it just pushed you too far. So it's having to know where that balancing act is having to be placed in that optimal performance zone you just talked about.
Yeah, and I think a good analogy for these zones is that when you're in your comfort zone, you're walking. You're making progress. It's kind of slow, but everything's going easy for you. And you're getting somewhere, but you're walking there. When you're in your optimal performance zone, you're running.
Okay.
So a little more heated up, a little more out of breath, but you're going to get there a lot faster than you would if you were walking. And the danger zone is
you're all out sprinting.
It's not sprinting. Your danger zone
you're riding a bike.
Is you getting hurt and falling out of the race.
Okay.
Is really the way to see it, because you would think in that way that the danger zone would be you're going to sprint, you're going to mad dash for it, and either you're going to make it or you're not.
I was thinking more of like you're going to sprint, either you like just give up because you can't sprint as long as you jog, or like you get hurt, you get shin splints or something, but that makes more sense.
Yeah.
It's just cutting to you're getting hurt.
Yeah. The danger zone, all you're going to do is you're going to get hurt. And what's going to happen with that? The people who are just running, jogging, they're going to go right by you. And eventually the people who are walking are going to walk right by you. So kind of that tortoise and the hare comparison there, you need to be able to really manage how much stress you want to add onto your life for the changes that you're trying to make for yourself. Because going off the deep end with things in some occasions are necessary, but when they're not, it's more detrimental to you than if you would have just done nothing at all.
Yeah, and I was going to say something about like when you get hurt like that and you hit that danger zone, oftentimes you fall back even further than you were when you were originally in your comfort zone. So I like how you said like the people that are walking still past you, because like I said at the beginning, you put all these things at risk or on the line for you to get out of that comfort zone. So when you try to bum rush it, then you get hurt, you're going to fall back and probably lose some of those things that you initially had.
Yeah, that's the whole summary of it there. And I know that personally I've experienced that a lot originally when I'm going to the gym, right? You knew like,
yeah, you go hard, you throw up, but then
yeah, that was my traditional gym routine growing up was, okay, well, we're going to start going back to the gym now. And then you knew, okay, cool, you got about 6 months until you're going to get an injury. Yeah. And then you're going to be out for about 6 months to a year. And obviously that's not the way to do it. I had my own issues I was going through that made me believe that that was okay. And I've since fixed that. No worries, guys. But it'll set you further back than it will get you ahead, trying to push that hard. So you can achieve better things by being outside of your comfort zone, but not completely immersed in that high anxiety, high stress situations. And you don't have to put yourself there to see growth, because ultimately you're going to see the opposite. And you're going to wonder why you fail all the time. And it's not because you're a failure. It's because you might be going just a little bit too hard. So that's something you want to check on yourself. And actually, when you're pushing the boundaries a little too hard, it's going to cause those poorer results than just being in that comfort zone in the first place. So you really need to weigh your options when you're trying to decide what you're going to do, what type of changes you're going to make. Because, as we mentioned before, everything is so accumulative that just the smallest little changes over time are the big changes that happen in your life. We're just so used to seeing the big changes now on social media and whatnot, but that's because they're not going to be up there posting their stories every day about every little thing they did every single day. Yeah. It's like, oh, hey, here's the success story.
And that's another thing I was going to talk about real quick, is that like when you decide to get out of that comfort zone, that's not something that other people can tell you how to do it. That's not something that we can pick and choose every single one of you and tell you, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that to get out of that comfort zone or to not push into that danger zone. It's very introspective, and you really have to come to that, what you called self-realization, and accept the things that you're doing that's keeping you in that comfort zone. Now, there's things that people can advise or say their perspective about, like if somebody comes up to you and tells you, hey, you're working too much or you're not working enough, those are things that you can take into account. Like, let's say you are working too much, and then your significant other is telling you like, hey, I might be walking out because you're not giving any time for us. That's something you have to accept and then make the change to get out of the comfort zone of, you're working 6 days a week and you can't give any more time. Maybe you have to change that up so then you can spend more time with them. You are putting at risk the fact that you might not make the same money because you're not working more, but it's the benefit of growing that family, growing the relationship with other people. So it's like the first step is realizing what you need to do and not listen to what other people are telling you to do.
So you brought up two different points there that I wanted to get into, and I'm going to hit the most critical point first off of what you're saying, because in that situation where like if your significant other is going to leave you because you're working too much or whatnot, you're already in the danger zone.
Okay.
And you don't fight fire with fire. So if you're already in the danger zone of something like working way, 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 way too much, being way, way, way too overweight,
yeah,
it's not going to benefit you to be as extreme on that change. You're not going to want to jump into another danger zone level of stress and anxiety to fix that issue.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to happen. So like in that case, you're working all the time and you're like, oh, okay, well, let me use my PTO, let me take some vacation days, let me take some sick days, and then I'll cut back my hours, I'll do this, I'll do that. And next thing you know, your pay is like cut in half. You're spending more time with the family, and now you're home more than you are at work, and now your family is going to struggle financially.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to get back to that optimal performance zone.
Yeah. But that's what I'm talking about. Like when I'm saying you're comfortable working that much, or you're comfortable being that overweight, like there's people that are okay. Like they don't even think about how much they're working because they know it. So they're like, I'm doing what I have to do, and that's fine. That's not a good spot to be in, is what we're saying.
But when you get that wake up call, that realization.
Yeah. The outer cues of people telling you like, hey,
yeah,
you're a little heavy, or spend some more time with us, or we're going to leave. Like that's when you have to really jot that down and plan accordingly.
Again, just don't fight the fire with the fire. Don't go from that extreme situation that's going on, whether you realize it or not, because like you're saying, it's not going to be causing you stress to work that much if you have that workaholic type syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be okay for you to enter into a higher stress situation, and you're going to think that's going to be okay, when really you need to be able to set those small changes and let that make the progress that needs to be made, and let your significant other see that you're working towards it, making the small changes for it. They're going to appreciate it, and although it might take a little bit of time, they know that you are paying attention to them.
Communication's key on that scenario. But another thing is like the willingness to maintain that habit or that new routine that you're going to set for yourself. Like you have to be willing to realistically uphold that, not for the month straight of doing carnivore, but it's like, this is going to be long term. So I have to realistically be willing to just keep it going. So you can't have such a drastic change going for months. It has to be, it accumulates, or it gets better as you keep going.
Yeah, those small changes are going to make all the difference in the world. They really will. And the last point on what you said there, which is a little less critical, but something I found interesting because I didn't know this about the comfort zone and dealing with stress and whatnot. And I mean, obviously now it makes sense, right? Yeah. As all things do. But when you're in your optimal performance zone, what you're actually doing is you're actually growing your comfort zone. Your comfort zone's getting bigger because, again, you're setting a new normal standard for yourself. And when you're not in that burnout state or being in that danger zone, you can maintain the optimal performance zone for longer, and that's going to just make your bubble bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
So what actually happens is when you do need a break from that optimal performance, you do need that, the de-stress, the detox from everything going on, and you just want to relax and recover, that comfort zone is actually going to be bigger.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot closer to you.
Yeah.
It's not going to be such a fall when you end up like wanting that break. You don't have to go all the way back down to where you started because the bubble's going to be right there. So you can just kind of fall back a little bit and then keep going.
Falling into that comfort zone, when you see those opportunities there to get out of it, you hit those realizations that it's time to do something with yourself.
Yeah.
Don't go jump straight into the danger zone. Plan it out. Be smart about it. Be real with yourself. Get into that optimal performance zone, and you're going to watch that comfort zone grow, and it's going to just make you a better person at the end of the day. You're going to be more resilient to change, to adversity. You're going to be able to handle more things, and you're going to be able to challenge yourself more the next time you go to do something.
And then for those that feel like they aren't struggling with anything, if they are really in a true kind of like comfort zone, one might say, with living their best life or living a great life, that they don't have the outside worries of needing to go to the gym, needing to lose weight, working too much, whatever, you also should still be analyzing if there's better things out there for you. And some of those things are going to require you to get out of that comfort zone. So really take that into account. And then also don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the page and videos with all your friends and family. We really do appreciate all of that. Follow our social medias. The links to that are in the description below. We also have Anchor FM available. So the podcast is going to be on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, anywhere you can check out your podcasts. but video only is only on YouTube, so we really do appreciate when you do comment down below. We interact with everybody. Remember, again, like and subscribe is very important to us.
And until Wednesday, go on and get